Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really unpacking a fascinating nexus point.
We are. It's this intersection of uh, high-octane professional success, intense personal stress.
And the wellness routines that fuel it all. We're looking at how really successful people don't just endure stress,
No, they actually use the lessons from managing their own health and fitness to, well, to fundamentally change how they lead.
how they manage teams, solve these huge business problems. It's fascinating.
That's the core of it today. We've been diving into the life and insights of Marina Markham. She's a family wealth advisor, has been for 26 years.
And that's a high stakes, high trust role.
Oh, incredibly. She's managing wealth for about 160 households, both here in Canada and internationally.
And we should be clear, we're not just talking about someone who, merely survived in the industry.
Not at all. Her professional achievements are recognized at the highest levels. She received a National Canadian Business Award.
Right, and that was specifically for leadership integrity and her dedication to service. So this goes way beyond just financial skill.
Exactly. It's about sustained, ethical, high-pressure performance over decades. So our mission today is to really extract the practical framework from her journey.
How do you keep that up? How do you keep leading with integrity when everything, the market, the economy is just hammering away at you?
And we're really focusing on the surprising ways she translated her fitness dedication, directly into methods for professional achievement.
Yeah, and here's the idea that really stuck with me. The incremental, often unglamorous work of physical training. It translates directly into these really effective strategies for leading a team, for avoiding burnout, for solving what feel like impossible blockages.
Let's unpack that. It really started with her own wellness journey.
Okay, so Marina's move towards this kind of self-care, it wasn't philosophical. It was kicked off by a pretty brutal medical reality check.
Yeah, back in the early 2000s, she was diagnosed as pre-diabetic.
And the way it was delivered was pretty alarming.
Incredibly specific. She was only about 30 years old, at the peak of her early career drive. And the doctor just tells her, flat out.
What was it?
He said she had the liver of a 50-year-old that's eaten and drank too much their entire lives.
Wow. That's the moment that forces a reckoning, isn't it? You have to confront the real physical cost of that lifestyle.
You do. But what's fascinating is her solution wasn't extreme. It was all about sustained, manageable habits.
Right.
She's managed that pre-diabetes for 20 years, not with some radical overhaul, but with minor diet changes.
Like reducing carbs, portions, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And a commitment to regular, and this is key, varied exercise. She was doing typo videos, Mari Windsor Pilates, the Total Gym, all from home.
I think that variety is so important. It speaks to avoiding stagnation, right? Both physically and mentally.
For sure. She did kickboxing, hot yoga, Pilates, running, even salsa dancing.
And she saw all of that as stress busting.
It was an absolute requirement, a release valve for all the pressure that builds up in her industry. It wasn't about burning calories so much as shedding psychological weight.
That routine built a lot of resilience, but then the pandemic hit. And she admits her discipline kind of fell apart for a bit.
Which is so relatable. And that lapse led to another physical challenge, a frozen shoulder.
Ugh, that's painful.
It is. And it meant she needed professional help, which is how she found her trainer, Ryan. But what she discovered was this unexpected therapeutic aspect to their sessions.
She said he unwittingly became a bit of a therapist.
Yeah.
That's such a great concept, isn't it? A forced, structured release. You go into that session, you can't check your email, you're just expelling tension.
Physical and psychological at the same time. She'd vent about work, get the stress out, and get that endorphin hit. And it helped her A1C levels.
Which is a measure of blood sugar, for anyone who doesn't know.
Right, a long-term measure.
Yeah.
So by managing her mental stress with exercise, she was directly improving a chronic physiological condition. It's a powerful feedback loop.
And this gave her the resilience she needed for what she called the 7-year storm.
Yeah, this period of tough markets, the pandemic, wars, tariffs, just one thing after another.
But I wonder, is there a risk that relying on, an external person like a trainer just shifts the stress around without getting to the root cause?
That's a fair question. And for some, maybe. But for Marina, the real value wasn't just the venting. It was the methodology Ryan used.
The discipline.
The discipline, the structure, which she then internalized and translated directly into her leadership. And that's the real breakthrough.
Okay, let's get to that aha moment about her management style that she learned literally on the gym floor.
So she talks about other trainers she'd had, the harsh, judgmental types.
The you should be doing 20 push-ups, what's wrong with you approach.
Exactly. which she found just instantly dejecting. Ryan's strategy was the complete opposite. It was non-judgmental, encouraging.
He met her where she was at.
Yes. Starting small, celebrating incremental progress. He said, okay, that's okay. Do what you could do.
The push-up example is so perfect. If she did 10, he wouldn't say do 15 next time.
No. He would encourage her to make a quiet, internal commitment to try for 11.
That's such a powerful psychological shift.
It is. It takes failure completely off the table. The focus becomes your own internal ambition, your own self-challenge. You never feel dejected, just focused on that next little step.
So how does that translate to leading a team in a high-pressure environment?
It's a direct one-to-one translation.
Yeah.
She adopted that exact style. If a team member misses a target, instead of harsh judgment that you should have done 20 mentality, she makes them feel they delivered their best today.
Creating a kind of psychological safety net.
Precisely. It removes the external judgment, which fosters internal ownership.
Yeah.
The goal is simply for that person to commit internally to doing a little better next time.
Which feeds right into this idea of self-kindness. She admits she's her own biggest critic.
And for high achievers, that inner critic can become so corrosive. She learned that accepting, if this is all you can do today, that's okay, do better next time, wasn't an excuse.
No, it was a survival tool.
It's what stops that downward spiral. If you beat yourself up for failing, you lose the motivation to even try again. And in these high-stress roles, that tool is non-negotiable for long-term success.
Okay, let's pivot a little. Let's talk about the motivation that drove her into this industry in the first place.
This is so important. She talks about her old-fashioned upbringing.
Where the men in the family, the grandfather, the father, controlled all the finances.
Yes, and this set the stage for a trauma she witnessed over and over.
Yeah.
When a crisis hit, a death, a divorce, the women in her family were thrown into a state of panic or paralysis.
Because they had no financial knowledge.
None. She remembers them not even knowing where the bank accounts were.
That is just a staggering level of vulnerability. To see that as a child, that must have left a huge mark.
It did. Her career changed into finance, which happened after her old company was bought out and everyone lost their jobs.
Right.
It was fueled by one single principle from that childhood observation. She had to be able to take care of herself, always.
So the drive wasn't just about money. It was about security, empowerment, an impenetrable safety blanket.
Precisely. And that now defines how she serves her clients. She says her greatest satisfaction comes from helping them hit those milestones, like retirement or buying a home.
But she puts a special emphasis on helping women.
She does.
Yeah.
Widows, divorcees, younger professionals, helping them gain that financial security she wanted for herself. She actually calls it her dover.
A dover.
Yeah. She feels she was too young to help her own family members back then. So now, through her work, she gets to give other women the knowledge she wishes they'd had.
That's incredibly purpose-driven work.
It really is. And that sense of duty leads us right into her philosophy on mentorship.
Right, her commitment to paying it forward. She was very clear that her early career was very, very hard.
Very hard. And a big part of that was the lack of female mentors, a lack of supportive infrastructure at the time.
So how do you repay the few people who did help you?
For her, the only way is to pay it forward, to be a proactive mentor herself.
She's intentional about teaching the next generation, giving them the kind of guidance and support she never got.
And she's not just talking about it. She gets really creative with her solutions to support people, especially parents. She helps facilitate things like job sharing.
Job sharing for moms with young kids.
Exactly. So they can maintain a foothold in their career while raising a family. It stops that brain drain of high-potential talent leaving the industry. It's a systemic support.
It's that same non-judgmental approach again, isn't it? Meeting people where they are.
It is. Okay, so let's get to this final breakthrough. Despite all her resilience, those past 7 years were just exhausting. Depleted energy, she called it.
And this all came to a head with a persistent, recurring professional blockage.
An issue that just kept coming up, draining energy with no resolution. And she realized the usual ways of dealing with it, reacting, pushing harder, weren't working.
So she decided to be intentional and very deliberate. And she used a strategy called reverse engineering.
Let's define that because this is such a key takeaway.
Okay, so in a contentious situation, what does that actually mean?
It means you ignore the immediate conflict. You ignore that emotional pull to react in the same old way. Instead, you take a huge leap forward in your mind.
You define the desired outcome first.
The absolute desired outcome. What you want this whole situation to look like in 1 or 2 years. The agreement, the relationships, the path forward, you make that crystal clear.
So you're negotiating from a future success, not your present pain.
Exactly. And once that future state is clear, you work backward, step by step, to figure out the tiny, unemotional things you have to do today to get there.
And this led to a great breakthrough meeting.
A huge one. Where it used to be emotional and contentious, this time it was productive. They found a resolution simply by removing that reflexive emotional reaction.
But the personal side effect of this was what's truly fascinating.
It was profound. For 7 years, she'd normalized walking while her brain was constantly churning, solving work problems in her head.
Her downtime wasn't actually downtime.
Not at all. But after resolving this issue, she felt a physical and mental change. She said she felt so light. She's now completely present on her walks. There's nothing in my head.
That is a massive reclamation of mental space.
It's the ultimate payoff.
Mm.
And it's unlocked her new goal to consciously fill myself up again, because she finally realized just how depleted she'd become.
And she's already seeing the effects. She mentioned a stiff snap in meetings, a sharp, focused energy.
And she did this one little therapeutic thing recently, a paint and wine night fundraiser.
For Make-A-Wish BC.
Right. She hadn't painted since she was a kid, but she called it a vacation for my brain.
That's a perfect description. It's not about being passive. It's about active, non-work engagement.
So if we synthesize all this for you, the listener, what's the bottom line?
I think it's that sustained success in a high-stress career really depends on focusing on what you can control and realizing that self-kindness isn't a weakness. It's a strategic tool.
Absolutely. Acknowledging your limits without judgment. It's okay if today all you can manage is one mobility exercise and one chore and one errand. You don't have to conquer the world every single day.
And Marina's belief is that we are all just works in progress. Trying something new, like that reverse engineering approach, it removes the blockage. It signals you're ready to move forward.
So here's a thought to leave you with. Think about that recurring conflict you've been facing, professionally or personally. That thing that just keeps draining your energy? Try taking a page from this. Don't react the way you normally do.
Instead, reverse engineer the solution. Visualize that successful, resolved outcome 1 year from now. Then build the tiny, disciplined steps back to today. What is one small, non-emotional step you could commit to right now to reclaim that mental space and finally feel that lightness?